What is going on, fight fans? So, looking at the Mike Tyson Jake Paul situation, that's going to be a very interesting one. Recently, we had a scare with Mike Tyson where he had an ulcer flare up while he was on a flight from Miami to Los Angeles, and he actually had to be rushed out of there via paramedics. Now, Mike Tyson has since spoken out saying that he is feeling 100% since the incident and that he doesn't even need to be at 100% to beat Jake Paul. So, the big question arises, should this fight even happen? Now, in terms of a marketing beast, this fight is actually really smart because Mike Tyson is a name that is synonymous with boxing culture and just culture in and of itself. He is in that vein where he's just world renowned, like Muhammad Ali, like Tupac Shakur. Mike Tyson is simply a world-renowned figure that transcends the sport of boxing. So a casual fan knows who Mike Tyson is. And although Mike Tyson is pushing he's in his 50s or something like that, it doesn't matter because he is still, in the eyes of many, Iron Mike Tyson. Now, Jake Paul is also a professional boxer, but not a professional boxer with years upon years of experience, and of course, no amateur background at all. Does he have an athletic background? Yes, he does. Right? Him and his brother were wrestlers, not pro wrestlers, actual wrestling in the Olympic style wrestling back when they were younger. But he never had any amateur boxing experience. So, is it enough for Jake Paul to do some damage on Mike Tyson? I think so. I think that the youth of Jake Paul is going to be the determining factor here. Now, Mike Tyson did decent versus Roy Jones, but Roy Jones was also pretty old when they fought each other. So they did decent against each other. But what happens when somebody's just young and youthful? Hopefully, Mike Tyson's wise old man muscle memory kicks in and that overcomes the youth of Jake Paul. But as it stands right now, it does look a little bit iffy. One person who was a cruiserweight undisputed champion in the 3-belt era and then moved up and became a heavyweight undisputed champion, the first to ever do it before Usyk did it in the 4-belt era. He did it in the 3-belt era, was Holyfield. And Holyfield looked like he was a beast back in the days, right? He could beat anybody from here to Timbuktu. But then we see him fight recently, and it was against not a boxer, but an MMA fighter, the type of fighters that Jake Paul has been able to put away or even beat, even an Anderson Silva, a person who's considered one of the top 10, pound for pound best MMA fighters of all time, couldn't beat Jake Paul. And he was doing pretty good in the boxing scene. And an MMA fighter basically made Holyfield look like, unfortunately, he ain't never been in the ring before. So are we going to see that with Mike Tyson? There is a lot on the line here for Mike Tyson. His health, obviously, is one of them. But also his reputation is on the line. As uncomfortable as a conversation that this is, it is a real conversation. If Mike Tyson loses to Jake Paul, that will forever be the asterisk of his pro record, because the Texas Athletic Commission has sanctioned this to be a pro bout. This will go on Mike Tyson's box rec, right? It will be on his record as well as on Jake Paul's record. So Jake Paul beating Mike Tyson, that's gonna be a tough pill to swallow. Of course, contextually, within context, Mike Tyson is old, right? Jake Paul is young. But just that visual of Jake Paul beating Mike Tyson, I don't know if it's worth it for Mike Tyson to do this. But I could be proven wrong. This is a dynamic that is very hard to decipher what's going to happen. Is the wise old man muscle memory going to be able to carry Mike Tyson? But is he too old for somebody who's very young and not as experienced, and he's still able to carry the fight and win because Jake Paul is not as experienced as, you know, another pro fighter who has an amateur career and what have you. So these are the important questions. In my opinion, I am very skeptical of this fight because I was actually there live for the Holyfield fight, the recent one, and it wasn't a pretty sight. It wasn't a pretty sight to see him just falling over from like nothing, right? So I'm hoping that that isn't the case. The thing that's giving me a little bit of hope is how Mike Tyson performed against Roy Jones. He didn't do amazing, but he also didn't look like he was like passing out or couldn't stay on his feet in that fight. That wasn't too long ago. So I'm hoping that he still could do that. He still could at least stay on his feet, you know, at least stay in there and box and do these things. I'm hoping that that's the case. Again, this is an impossible fight to predict because the dynamics are so rare. It's a person who hasn't fought in so many years. Only the one time with Roy Jones. It's hard to tell what we could extrapolate from that fight that will bring it to this fight. What happens when a person that's this old fights somebody who's young, but not only just old, but also rusty? It's tough. It is tough. So I'm definitely not going to make a prediction for this fight. But if I was to lean one way or the other, I do think that the youthfulness of Jake Paul may overcome the Mike Tyson muscle memory. But let's see what happens. I'm hoping that that's not the case, to be quite honest, but I just don't want that asterisk on Mike Tyson's, you know, his career, right? This man has a very nice career, He's won titles within 40 seconds. He's won world titles within 40 seconds. It's just going to be a tough pill to swallow, in my opinion. But let me know what you guys think. Do you guys think that this fight should go on even after this medical scare that we just recently had? Or is Mike Tyson's skills and wise old man intelligence and, you know, are we looking at some type of a George Foreman kind of situation, right? Where it don't really matter. He got it. He already got it, right? He got the mojo to be the guy, to be Mike Tyson. It doesn't matter when or where, it's always there, right? Or is it going to be like a Holyfield situation where it's like completely gone, right? So we don't know. He doesn't seem to be like punch drunk, in my opinion. So I think that could be in his favor, where he's still level-headed and could be calm in there and understand what's going on. But we just don't know until it happens. I'll definitely be watching the fight, but I'm definitely going to be cautious about this fight and hoping that both of them come out unscathed. And definitely hoping that Mike Tyson comes out unscathed, because boy, that's just, it just feels like it'll be too scary if it starts going into the wrong direction in terms of the youthfulness overcoming the wise old man. If you haven't heard, Canelo is no longer undisputed. I'll talk about how and why he's no longer undisputed in this video right here. And I'll see you in that video. Peace out, guys.